Hey there, welcome to episode 125 of the Quaggling Sand audio program. I'm your host, Dan Hugo. I'm recording this at 11:31 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time here in Greater Vegas on this Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. April 1st, 2026. Today's title and topic, April Meh. Not a fan. The Quaggling Sand audio program, if you are not familiar, is named for a term that I coined when I was probably like 4 years old, for something that you probably refer to as pins and needles, the return of circulation to a limb, perhaps, when it's become numb. And then as the circulation returns, well, of course, you feel quaggling sand, or pins and needles, if you like. But in the audio program form, this is a monologue, a vanity program, recollections, tales, stories, whatever else comes to mind, for your entertainment and mine, for posterity, receipts, if you will. If you find something interesting in these various episodes, great, mission accomplished. Otherwise, gives you something to do on the treadmill, I suppose. The 1st of April is famously the day before the 2nd of April. It's right after March 31st, so it works out nicely. Hopefully, wherever you found this audio program, you're able to locate the episode description, which contains the show notes, including a brief summary, which I'll read to you, as well as the links. We do have one episode link for today. Seriously. So let's get on with it. The summary. Today is the day every year when people are so clever and also so oblivious that the world actually rotates a bit more slowly than normal. That's how clever and oblivious the world is. The links, as I mentioned, Quaggling Sand homepage. Quaggling is spelled like it sounds, Quoggglingsand. Quaggling Sand, or quagglingsand.com. The profile page linking everything, which I can no longer say is 5 years old this month, so I won't. Buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, registered March 2021. The buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo/posts section is where you'll find the Monday morning weekly recollection of the previous week and news and announcements upcoming. It is named for the Buy Me a Coffee site because I wanted to just post something there that was exclusive to Buy Me a Coffee, but now it just posts everywhere else with everything else. The handy buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo profile page includes links to all of that, including the coffee solo program, YouTube links for everything, eventually the primary point of publication homepages for relevant productions, not to mention projects and some biographical information and some affiliate links. You do not have to spend any money at the buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo profile page. You can if you want to. Everything that comes in through there, every financial benefit is applied to coffee and coffee accessories. It's what makes all this stuff go. And the link for today's episode, the April Fool's Day Wikipedia page. Do check that out at your latest possible convenience. You can tell I'm very excited about this. Today is the day we all sort of hate. I think, I don't know. Does anybody really like April Fool's Day, April 1st? I don't know. I only meet people that are as annoyed as I am, but they never voice it on its own, right? They never say, just out of the blue, I don't care for this day. So I guess that's what this episode is. And as I will describe, I don't really have stories of old. They're current, I suppose. So yeah, today is the day. I posted on Mastodon about the Tesla taxis not actually being completely self-driving, with an optional human remote driver possible, as it turns out, with my sarcastic comment that we can let Elon have just this one little misrepresentation, just this one time, because being perfect is difficult. And I left it there. Now, while this post is sarcastic, the one I posted, it was supposed to be like, we all know almost nothing that Elon says actually is true. None of his projections are correct. His technologies are wonky. His cars are not well made, etc. So this post was sarcastic. That was the intent. I then realized that I have posted this on April 1, so I literally had to go back and recheck the article that I was referring to make sure it was not also published on April 1, which in the case of print media is usually made very obvious in the date line at the top of the article that it was published on April 1. And by the way, sometimes you'll see they just mark a time or like a relative time, posted 4 hours ago or something. So that's when you know. If they don't say April 1st explicitly, but it is April 1st, yeah, be aware. So was it published on April 1st? But no, the article I referred to was actually published explicitly on March 31st at 3:06 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's really not on April 1st. So definitely not on April 1st. So then I figured my post could be interpreted as April 1 sarcasm about a post that is explicitly not April 1 tomfoolery. I literally had that thought. Like I spent my mental energies pondering this just in case someone reads the post. And this is a rarity. I don't get a lot of interaction on Mastodon, which is actually good, and decides to ask if I am serious. Then it occurred to me that I have never really been into April Fool's Day as far as I can remember. In fact, I think it is not only dumb and annoying, but a really bad idea. So there you go. I've come out and said it. This is probably a better topic for FFS, which is tomorrow. So if April 1st had fallen on a Thursday, there we go. I left out the number. If April 1st had fallen on a Thursday, like tomorrow, for example, I would obviously tackle this as a topic for what does not work. That is the gist of the FFS Talk audio program, of course. You've heard them all, you know. But I already have a topic for tomorrow, and I just started writing it actually, mostly so I don't forget it. So if I get an idea, just like anything else, I have this idea, surely I will remember it. So I figured this would be fine for Quaggling Sand. So I started thinking about any memorable April 1 recollections, and I was really not able to. So surely there will be a year when April 1st falls on Thursday, but I'm not going to check. I'll just let it happen. If I look back to my youth, now, probably when I was in like early grade school, there would have been some sort of silliness in a classroom setting or on the playground, or April Fools, that kind of stuff. Okay, fine. Maybe there was something on Sesame Street or some of the other programming I used to enjoy when I was 4 and 5 years old. I don't really remember. So there may have been some sort of teacher-driven prank, or less likely some students pulling something off or something. I don't really remember. It doesn't stand out to me. Nothing really comes to mind, which made me wonder if this is why I don't really care for this day. Was it just never shown in a positive light with some truly entertaining and thoughtful silliness? I don't know. It's not really a holiday, of course. And why I try not to contribute to it, even with my Mastodon post. How did I misspell that? Even with my Mastodon post I previously mentioned, it would be more of a rationalization than an explicit act for the big day if I did anything. So I really pretty much avoid it. Sometimes I literally just stop reading online news posts and whatnot for a while. I think in these dire times, there would be less April Fool's tomfoolery, but no, it's still here. So most of my April 1 encounters are internet-based, without any in-person foolery that comes to mind in recent memory, which is sort of interesting, I think, because if it was indeed an episodic FFS recollection, I would find nothing. I would find noting. I wrote this. You'd think I'd be able to read it. I would find noting what does not work to be fairly easy. What does work, not so much. So I will attempt to recall some of my paraphrased versions of April Fool's silliness mixed in with obvious stuff. Mixed in with the obvious stuff. So the take home of this, because I really kind of flubbed it up here, was I don't really enjoy April 1st, and I don't really participate in April 1st. The Mastodon is a rationalization, right? It was like, I'll leave it up, but I'll just claim April Fools if somebody thinks I'm serious. because as can happen, if you are not up to date on everyone's posting history, you can say something that will offend them, or you can assume. Well, I find that people telling rather than asking first, right? We'll get to that towards the end of this episode, but I think, yeah, that's like a low hanging fruit situation. I otherwise do not create false content. I do not. This episode of this program is real. I'm not concocting something for your entertainment only, other than the fact that I'm telling stories as always. So, The Onion comes to mind. If you are not familiar with The Onion, we need to have a longer talk on another time. But suffice to say, The Onion is, by the way, I say suffice to say. I think a lot of people say suffice it to say. Suffice to say, The Onion is rather famous for writing some pretty convincing fake news articles that are actually fake, but also actually humorous or even funny. And they do this all the time, like really all the time. In other words, merely knowing that a particular article is from The Onion made it especially easy if an article URL is visible. So someone's not like screenshotting and saying, oh, look, this is real news. It's just knowing it's The Onion is enough to know that it is not true, or at best satirical with sprinkles of truth. And although alarmingly, The Onion comes too close. In modernity, it's like, boy, you would think this was an Onion article, but no, it's true. Or at least it's reported by the New York Post, for example, a completely reliable source all the time. Though it is not uncommon for life to imitate art, of course. That definitely, The Simpsons and The Onion. Who knew? That's where the fortune tellers hang out. The Babylon Bee is sort of similar, though leaning in a different direction politically, of course. And there are only more, as time has passed, more people posting funny things all the time and or on April 1st. I shared an article with someone, this was a long time ago, from The Onion. It was an Onion article when I was living in Sunnyvale in about 2008, say. It was actually the person I was doing Radio Sunnyvale with. I've talked about that previously, our podcast. Yeah, we had multiple shows. It's the only way to do it. And this person was not aware in the slightest what The Onion was, which is insane. So he was literally freaked out at the article contents, like angry almost. I have no idea what the article was about at this point. Who knows? It was an Onion article. It's not really something I store away. But he was not pleased at all to learn it was a fake by design link I had sent him. He was actually a little bit insulted by the whole notion and that people would publish such things and not disclaim them right at the top. And I supposed that I was driven by the embarrassment of not being in on the joke. I'm sorry, and I suppose that, okay, who wrote this? Oh, that's right, me. And I suppose that he was a little bit insulted was driven by the embarrassment of not being in on the joke, right? Of course, then it feels like he's being made fun of or something, which was not actually aimed at him. I sent it because I thought it was humorous. I didn't send it to him to mock him or diminish him or whatever. That would come later. But I think he took it that way for some reason, sort of. But he was definitely mad that fake news such as The Onion could be published as though it were legitimate news. And I don't know, sometimes it is legitimate news. I cannot imagine how he made it through modern life to that time without knowing that people do such things. I mean, not necessarily the news way back when, Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, obviously The Daily Show, the list goes on. Now, the joke is that whenever someone encounters some outlandish news that is too bizarre to be true, the first thing to check is whether it is an Onion article. Okay, then you say, oh, more often than not nowadays, not an Onion article, which people comment on often. So yipes, these are the times we live in. But the reason I am mentioning this is April 1st has become a substantial attention sink over the last 20 years or so, with an effect similar to The Onion, but all happening on one day. So I guess we get it over with, which is still too long. I think it is, if it's all in one day, then we could also just crush it down to maybe all in 1 hour or maybe just 1 minute, like a silly minute or, I don't know, foolish hour. But that could be so many hours. So then we've kind of moved it into FOMO pranks. If I reflect over my time in Silicon Valley, for example, where the internet started to become a toy with which people could play on the special day, just like today, there would not be real world pranks, but online pranks. So that makes it easy. This was difficult to do with print media because column inches cost real money. So you can't go printing like a fake issue of something or even a fake column in a newspaper. But as was becoming apparent, especially during the dot-com boom, the internet being the wild, wild west meant throwing any idea up on a website, publishing anything silly, generally creating content was pretty much free of actual cost other than time spent. So, hey, in fact, to be honest, back in the day, you could register a domain with, I can't remember if you could actually use the domain. I think you could set up the DNS. So you could basically register a domain, and then the internet, which later became Network Solutions, the internet would bill you later. So you'd register the domain and then you'd get mail from them and you had to pay it. And if you didn't pay for it, the domain would expire, so you'd have a free domain for 2 weeks. So you could register anything, put up a website real quick, and that's it. So yeah, the internet and the dot-com boom unleashed all manner of such creativity. I landed in Silicon Valley in 1993. The internet was just becoming a thing a couple of fast years later. So in 1994 was my first use of the Mosaic web browser when I was working at Apple. I'm like, oh, what's this? And yeah, that was the beginning for me. So now I should say the internet was actually around longer. We used the internet when I was in college, but the web and the casual person being able to create pages and have them viewable by someone with, an internet connection of some sort. So publishing followed soon after, and then before you could just put up whatever you wanted pretty much any time. So it was just becoming a thing though. And in short order, the notion of publishing humorous and almost believable press releases or other real looking items with a prominent dateline like today became a thing like pretty quickly. Sort of like ads during the Super Bowl, expectations formed, and year after year, there was almost a competition to see which person or company could come up with the most convincing yet ridiculous April Fool's transaction. And there would be a fear of missing out, FOMO, just like I mentioned previously. And they were doing pretty well at it. New product announcements, merger rumors, to the extent that the SEC would not get offended. New hires, the sky was the limit. Anything would go under the cover of this silly calendar date. So, it's April 1st. That means we can be stupid, to be honest. Somewhere in there, I honestly feel there was some of that FOMO driving all of this. Surely to be cool and hip in the dot-com era, someone would have to come up with a convincing fake news prank to publish online so that it would draw some views or maybe be passed around via email, since this was actually real advertising via fake news. So of course it caught on. Who would rule the day was the big question each year. Again, kind of like Super Bowl advertising. So, did you see the post from so-and-so that they had? And then everybody thought it was real. And the news, if you can get the real normal press to cover something as though it's real, I think that's died out over the years. But, back in the day, Apple and Microsoft are merging. Oh, we were tricked. So that kind of stuff was kind of the thing. I think people are going too far. Or I think the notion is going too far. Over the last decade, maybe, give or take, April Fool's Day has become a default trap for everyone to step into more and more. How often do you hear people specifically suggesting that they must get an announcement out on March 31st or April 2nd, specifically to avoid confusion? Was not Liberation Day on April 2nd, 2025, 1 year ago tomorrow, to make sure that the world at large did not mistake the Trump tariff plan as a joke or a prank? Like, obviously, if we do it on April 1st, people won't think we're serious, and we most certainly are, sort of. Tomorrow will mark that year. I wonder how that has worked out. He was serious? Isn't that from My Cousin Vinny? You was serious about that? Oh, that was My Cousin Vinny when the judge says you can't wear the leather jacket. You was serious about that? I decided to wait until the sun came up today to see about how April 1 would commence for 2026, and was met with some low-hanging fruit. For example, headlines. I didn't even read the articles. The headline, you can kind of spot them now. AMD is buying Intel, obviously, right? That's got to be true. The TSA, the Transportation Safety Administration, I think it is. Yeah, we all know the TSA. I think they're getting paid now. April Fools now requires transparent carry-on luggage. That one they put a lot of effort into. They I saw an image somewhere. Someone created a transparent roller bag, like a rolly, upright roller, completely transparent. That would actually probably be a product. Various new product announcements for things that, of course, do not exist. I saw a Stream Deck with a crank or a handle of some sort, like almost like a slot machine, or maybe it was a crank. I don't know. So yeah, the product announcements are sort of humorous, but there was somebody has a new product is a Newton case for your belt, a belt loop kind of thing. Yeah. And it will continue all through the day if history holds. So, who doesn't get tired? I suppose the tech space is the easiest since we are all always online and looking for the latest news, the latest product, the latest gossip or whatever. But just about anything is susceptible. In fact, before I forget, I saw a post that memory prices are on DDR5 memory, which have been insane. There was like, I don't remember the percentage, but it was more than 100%. Like it's the price of a normal memory that gamers or people building a system at home, and now it's affecting laptops and mobile devices. Like, oh, your device needs memory. Well, that's going for 5 times what it was going for 6 months ago. So hopefully you made your risk buy 6 months ago. So that's been crazy. So a headline that I saw was memory prices are crashing. They're down 15% so far, I think it was. The crash in quotes started in China. It's moving a little bit to Taiwan, but it will move around Asia for production, and then we'll see what happens. So I noted on the article this is what I was referring to earlier. There's no date. It just said it was published 4 hours before, 4 hours ago, 4 hours earlier, something like that. I was like, So as I was reading it, there was like enough detail that may be true, but there was nothing too tongue-in-cheek or too kind of random. Like that does not fit, until I got about 3/4 of the way down and it said something about foolishness. I'm like, So I'll have to see what happens. But why would you announce something on April 1st? To get a scoop? But it won't be taken seriously. So you have to actually say this is not an April Fool's joke, or if you don't, then it could be. See where I'm going with this? Ridiculous. So here's something I will figure out eventually, maybe tomorrow or in the next couple of weeks, or maybe never, who knows? But I'll leave it here as a receipt of sorts. Our president, I can't remember his name, but that guy has scheduled some time for an address to the nation for this evening. Wednesday evening, April 1st, 2026, the president will address the nation. The topic is Iran, apparently, allegedly, and the multi-week war as it is thus far. Though one never knows with this, the meandering monologue, what it will include. Could be anything. Surely there will be references to stupid presidents and evil Supreme Court justices. Who knows? Maybe something about this visit to the Supreme Court, for example, as where the references will come. We'll leave that there. But today was they were hearing arguments about the birthright citizenship executive order. So we'll definitely hear about that. Anyway, they scheduled this for today. And it was announced non-urgently a couple of days ago. So they just sort of nonchalantly said, the president will address the nation on Wednesday. I don't even think they put they didn't emphasize the date. But the tariff announcements a year ago were explicitly on April 2nd, so there would be no confusion. So what gives? I guess maybe we'll find out. I don't know. So final section, 3 points. First point, I wrote most of this last night. So this I wrote today. I mentioned in my post on Mastodon about Elon Musk and the sometimes not self-driving Tesla taxis, and then I would use the April Fool's defense if someone commented. Well, it is what it is. Someone did comment, And of course, I received a typical mansplanation where the person assumes without asking first that I clearly don't know anything. Oh, that's how self-driving cars is. Occasionally they don't have the. Okay, fine. Totally missing the point. So they assume without asking first that I clearly don't know anything and that this person needs to set me straight. So it was like a long post on Mastodon for what it was. So I responded, and I just kept it very simple. I thanked them for the mansplanation. One sentence. Thanks for the mansplanation. And second sentence. And happy April Fool's Day. They liked the reply and responded, but I didn't read the response because, frankly, I don't care. I don't get where people need to do that. But then, at the same time, an acquaintance here in Vegas, whom I know, I have met this person in person, but we're connected on LinkedIn. The person posted an image of an announcement concerning a Las Vegas, think Hollywood sign, a Las Vegas sign to be constructed in the Red Rock area in the Red Mountains, the Reddish Mountains. We're not Sedona. There was a mention of Hollywood 2.0 and the homage to the original Hollywood sign and so on, because Vegas is this, and there was a mention of Mark Wahlberg, who has allegedly moved, and he and his family have moved to Florida. So I was like, and some other stuff that was not quite correct, like a little bit odd. And I almost responded asking, like, wait a minute, is it like, did I miss something? Or, oh, that's right. So I wasn't going to mansplain. I wasn't going to be like, actually, but I figured because this person's in the know, they're in the real estate industry. So I was like, oh, is there something? Because, everybody's distracted by 10,000 other things. But I thought, oh, maybe I missed something. So I was almost going to ask, but then, oh, wait, that's why I hate this day. Really? Why not just save this up for Halloween when anyone can pretend to be anyone or anything for a whole night? And they don't need to mess with everybody, and they don't have to use the internet. I don't know what I was going to say, internet, and mess with people. Keep it local. And you can post pictures of yourself on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Save it for October 31st or whatever day it is this year. Finally, what is up with Hershey announcing that they are changing the recipe of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and the Reese's product line? They announced it on April Fool's Day, that's today, but it was in response to complaints or comments or concerns raised by someone in the founding family or some such. It was somebody in the family, somebody important, but not a celebrity necessarily, said, oh, the taste of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups is something is bad, something has changed, and so on. So are we to believe that they did actually decide to respond to these familial concerns so raised with such a change, drastic, across multiple individual products and the Reese's line and possibly to other parts of the Hershey family of products, to make such an announcement on April 1st? Or is this a prank? Is it genius? Or is it a complete waste of time? It could be both, and maybe that is. There really is no good reason for any of this. There never has been. There is simply no reason to decide, hey, what happens if I post something here, but it's some other time zone? And like, wait a minute, was this posted in April 1st time zone them or time zone us? Is this true, right? So like, why introduce? Time zones are tricky enough. Why are we introducing the possibility that on one particular day, this may or may not be true? Because people see, if there was universal faking of the news, that would be one thing, but it's too intermingled and we have too many trust issues now. We have too much AI. We have too many divisive, weaponized robot, whatever. It's becoming ridiculous. Well, we're long past that, but so the take home is, if I may interrupt myself, the take home is, the reason I probably don't have memories of, or I cannot recall memorable April 1st interactions. Oh, remember that one year because I've never really encountered one that I thought that was a good time. I'm glad I wasted my time reading or figuring out, or wait, is this true? Because I've never that I can recall, and I'm pretty sure I would recall if that happened once. So yeah, the whole April 1st thing has got to go. If this were an episode of FFS Talk, my what can we do about it would be one, just go put your phone down for the day and go outside and get away from everyone. Or just abolish April 1st, right? Like how, suppose there was going to be a rule, a law, maybe a constitutional amendment. Maybe somebody should announce that. Constitutional amendment banning the posting of any false news, knowingly false news, to deceive or misrepresent or to influence, right? Election influence and all the other such things. So make that illegal or unconstitutional or whatever. The First Amendment still applies, except you must be honest, right? Something like that. Would people just post that on April 1st? Like people would believe it. I don't care. That's all I got for today. Yeah, I just hate to stay. Like I would consider, like I said, just going outside and not even reading anything on the internets. But this Hershey's chocolate thing has me concerned. It could go. It's like Schrodinger's April Fool's Day. It could go either way. We'll know when we open the box. I think they said in 2027 they'll implement the change. Do we believe them? I don't know. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, do check out the buymeacoffee.com/DanHugo page for links to all of my various audio programs. Pick some things that you like to talk about and consider being the other side of an argument on the FFS Talk audio program, or maybe just listen on the treadmill or when you're out for a walk or when you're sitting or standing at your computer. I have a standing desk. So when you're standing or sitting and trying to get something done and you figure, I don't want to be productive. Let me listen to what Dan Hugo's got to say about something. And I will waste all the time you need. Again, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.